Good afternoon, and once again, welcome to VetNet. My name is Jason Dozier, Manager of Plans and Operations here at Hire Heroes USA. I'm joined by our esteemed Veteran Transition Specialist, Kristen Ross, out of our Raleigh, North Carolina office, and Matthew Korth out of our Seattle office. And I'm currently here in Alpharetta, Georgia, just north of Atlanta. And before I turn it over to Kristen and Matt to talk about resume writing, or I'm sorry, wrong class, talk about LinkedIn. Before we get started, I just want to remind everyone, especially those watching at home, that we do these classes every week. This week we're talking about LinkedIn. Next week, I believe we start talking about interviewing, and we do classes on interviewing, networking, resume writing, so forth and so on. We do a different class every week. But the programming that we do are all bits and pieces of what we provide as a whole here at Hire Heroes USA. So if you register for services with us, registration opens usually Friday mornings, and one of our veteran training specialists will work with you, and if you find a job where you no longer use our services, and we'll work with you on those different components that will make you more successful in your job search. With that being said, if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Google+. And like I said, we do these classes every week, 3 o'clock Eastern Time, and we look forward to seeing you either next week or when you register for services with us. Without further ado, Kristen, go ahead and we'll get this class started.
All right, so like Jason already said, my name is Kristen Ross. I am a veteran transition specialist out of Raleigh. My background comes from nonprofit work, working particularly with students, building resumes and interview skills. I'm going to send it over to Matt.
Hey everybody, my name is Matt Korth and I work out of our Auburn, Washington office. I'm a veteran myself. I've served as an enlisted military working dog handler in the United States Navy, and I've also more recently been a commissioned officer in the United States Army. So I've successfully transitioned twice in my lifetime, and I know how difficult and stressful it can be. So I'm very honored to be in this position where I get an opportunity to share my experiences with other veterans that are going through the transition and offer some tips so that your transition into a civilian career is very successful and smooth. So that's me in a nutshell, and I look forward to, I really believe in LinkedIn and the power that it has to build a professional network. Someone once told me that it's the next best thing to a handshake. So it would behoove us all as job seekers to have a strong presence on LinkedIn.
Excellent. So today we're going through LinkedIn. Really, we're going to touch on 2 main points. Understanding LinkedIn, the networking skills, how to set up a page, and then we're going to go through how to effectively incorporate the website into your job search. So LinkedIn is a professional online networking website. Very similar to Facebook in the way that you can connect to people and view information, but it is for the professional world. It is for professionals to connect with each other, to connect with companies. That way they can build their network virtually, as opposed to traditionally you see face-to-face. LinkedIn also offers an online job search, which utilizes your profile to kind of use that information that you put in to look for jobs more tailored to you. You can use it to maintain and build any of these professional relationships, and you can also use it to contact prospective employers. That way to kind of put your face more forward when it comes to applying for positions and things like that. Matt, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, so although it's very similar to Facebook, I want to make a point of saying that it is not Facebook. It's similar in the way you get set up and things like that. It's a professional site, so you got to present yourself in a professional manner, because that's how people are gonna take it. So you don't want to be posting pictures of your family on vacation and things like that, but maybe focus more on your professional development. So it's okay to have photos of yourself in a professional setting, and then maybe posting articles about some helpful tips for job search, things like that. Focus on building your personal brand by presenting yourself in a professional manner on LinkedIn. So that's a key thing for me, is making sure that vets know that this is not a place for you to post, crazy pictures of your vacation or going out. It's keep it professional and stick to articles and topics that you would potentially want to talk about at an interview, or how you would want a recruiter or a hiring manager to see you as a professional.
Excellent. So getting started with LinkedIn, go to the website. It's linkedin.com, and you set it up just like most of those accounts that you get: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those different social media sites. Put in your first and last name and email address. When it comes to email addresses, I don't know if you need to make sure that it is a professional email address. Not anything crazy, but something that you always want to make sure that's associated with your job search. It is important to make sure that it is separate, just because you want to make sure that when you're using your LinkedIn, people can contact you, that they're contacting you on the correct email address, one that you're putting a good face forward, and that you're not getting a bunch of spam to it, and that these professional offers aren't going to go to a spam folder, and that you would miss out on them. But then just moving into your LinkedIn profile, you set up a profile page just like you would on other sites. This one is geared towards your professional image. You start with your name. A lot of people go by nicknames. That's fine, but make sure that there is your full name that people would find you, recognize you by. Just be very careful with nicknames and things like that. You also have the tagline, which you can use several things in that. Your experience, your current job title, what industry you're in and interested in, things like that. The location is there as well. That's particularly important if you're not willing to relocate, or if there's a certain area that you're looking for a job in. That way you're not finding employers on the other side of the country. And then, the industry that you're in. And one very important part of the heading on your page is the profile link. Normally when you first set up your page, you get a lot of letters and numbers and parts of your name. Really what you can do is you can click on it, you can edit it, and make it more personalized to you. Make it simpler for people to put in the web address and not get lost. Matt, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, so to go back to the heading, this is one of the probably more overlooked parts of your LinkedIn profile, but it's really an important part, because depending on what you have on there for your title, that will often kind of direct the search when a recruiter is trying to find you. So it's key that you have those keywords in there and positions that you would want to be found by. So, for example, on mine I have career specialist / project manager / human resources, things like that, because those are the keywords. When a recruiter goes into their LinkedIn and they're looking for you, they're going to type in some keywords. So if they put in looking for a project manager with human resource experience and a military veteran, then the odds of the more keywords that I have on my title, the more likely I will pop up on their search. So you see a lot of veterans all the time put something like SFC for Sergeant First Class, U.S. Army. Well, that's all fine and good, but you're probably not going to pop up on a lot of searches. So take that into consideration, and especially if you're in the job search mode already, you got to be able to translate those military experiences into civilian terminology and civilian positions, so that recruiters and hiring managers that are out there that are looking for you kind of have an idea of what you've done. Because if they don't have a military background and they just saw SFC, U.S. Army, they have no clue what that is. So take that into consideration, everything you do, and remember that title just below your name is a very important place, and it's kind of going to dictate the way you are found on LinkedIn. So take some time to think of some really important, strong keywords that you would like to be found by, and make those changes. Usually, it's okay to just separate things with a dash or a straight line. I wish I can explain how to do that on a keyboard, but I'm sure we can figure that out. It's pretty easy.
The straight line?
Yeah, the straight line. You know what I mean?
It's the key with the backslash. If you do
there you go.
And the key with backslash.
There you go. Perfect.
And another important thing about your header as well is the professional picture. You always need to make sure that you have a professional picture. If there's no picture there, people innately just don't trust it if you're not willing to put your face onto it. I know people don't like having their picture taken, but always make sure that you have a professional picture. And by professional picture, I mean, in business attire, business professional, preferably business situations, or just a nice headshot of yourself. Nothing social. You very much don't want to have yourself doing anything inappropriate in the picture, such as drinking or smoking, or anything like that, just because it immediately disqualifies you in a professional environment.
Yeah, and to add on to that, you want to give people that are looking to hire you an opportunity to picture you in their organization. So, smile, look like you're approachable, look professional, and that gives people an opportunity to really kind of say, you know what, this guy or this gal looks like they'd fit in well with our organization based on how they present themselves. It's an important part of your LinkedIn profile because it's something that your resume will never be able to show. So present yourself professionally, look sharp as much as you can. Some sources will tell you, don't take a selfie or whatever, but that's just not realistic. I mean, most people don't have the ability to go to a professional photo shoot and take a portrait. Well, take a nice selfie, have your spouse, have a friend take a picture of you in some business casual clothing and smile, and you'll do way better than not having a profile picture at all. I mean, I've seen things that you'll get 7 times more traffic coming across your profile by just having a photo there rather than not having anything. So take a few minutes and do it. It'll benefit your overall LinkedIn profile and your overall social presence.
Yep. And so then after you get your header set up, the next most important thing is your background information. This is essentially where you input your resume information onto LinkedIn. The summary at the top, if you use our resume format, it is your summary of qualifications. It is that part at the top that summarizes everything that you've done, what you would like to do, what you really want your employer to take notice of. And then moving on from that, you have your experience below. These are the jobs that you've had, the quantifiable tasks that you have completed with that company, with that position, and you build that down below. And you can pull this directly off of your resume and input the information as LinkedIn asks you. Matt, do you have more to add with that?
Yeah. So on the summary portion, this is your opportunity to kind of share, what you are passionate about, what you're excited about, what type of person you are. So unlike a resume where you're not using pronouns to say I did this or we did that, you have the freedom to write things like that on your professional summary on LinkedIn. So take that opportunity to write about some things that are really important to you, what you'd like to do, what are your specialties, and feel free to use some pronouns in there. You have a lot more flexibility. And with LinkedIn, you have the ability to attach files. So if there's certain projects that you worked on, or maybe you work, in the military, you received an award and you have a really good photo of yourself, feel free to post something like that on there. That's okay. And then going into the experiences, like Kristen said, just like your resume, you're going to want to focus on your quantifiable accomplishments. So what are the great things that you did in that role that set you apart from everybody else? So take into consideration when you're building your LinkedIn profile on your computer, you want to make sure that just like your resume, it's easily scannable. So bulletize whenever you can. That way, when a recruiter is looking at your LinkedIn profile, they're not forced to have to read everything. You want to make it so that just like your resume, they can quickly scan it, pull out the key data that they're looking for, and decide whether or not they want to contact you. So build it on a computer, and then also take into consideration that there's mobile apps, right? So I know a lot of people that are in the recruiting field that work, search on LinkedIn via their phone. So while you're building it on the computer, make sure you take an opportunity to take a look at how it looks on a phone as well. So bulletizing, maybe having extra spaces between each of the bullet points on the job, that might be helpful. So take all those things into consideration as you're building your summary and your experiences on your LinkedIn profile.
Excellent. And then as you continue building it, you have the opportunity to include other things below your professional experience, organizations that you are associated with. A lot of organizations that veterans come across are the U.S. Army, the Marines, all those types of organizations. You can also connect with companies, things that way. Other information you can include are relevant courses, things that you took in college, classes that are particularly relevant to a position, anything like that, or if you took special certification courses, things like that. Definitely put on there that you have this experience because of this course. And with that, make sure you're always putting all of your education on there, all the way up through the most relevant education that you have. But there's no harm in putting all of your education on there. Also, skills that you have that you've developed through all the different backgrounds that you've been through, jobs that you've held, education, courses that you've had. Feel free to put all of that on there. Make sure it is tailored, though, for the positions that you want. Overloading them with information is not always the best way to go. If they can't find what they're looking for, they might skip over it. Make sure it is tailored, but it's never a bad thing to include education. Matt, do you have more to add?
No, I mean that really hit the spot there. I mean, the only thing that I could add is a little tip or technique that so just like a resume that you want to tailor tailor for a specific job, you want to do that for your LinkedIn profile too. So you have the ability in edit mode to be able to drag certain sections of your profile up or down to truly customize it. So, for example, if you're applying for a position that strongly recommends that you have a master's in business administration, and you want to make sure that that's one of the first things that a recruiter sees when they visit your profile, go into edit mode, and there's a little up-down arrow, and you can click and drag to put your master's above your professional experience, especially if that's something that you are recently doing and it kind of can explain a time gap of maybe unemployment. So I was unemployed because I was in school. So that can really help and really showcase the skills that you want a recruiter to see you with.
Excellent. And along with that, there's a space for additional information at the bottom of your profile. Here's where you can include any type of relevant interest that you have to a particular company or job that you might be applying to. If you have volunteer experience that is directly relatable, or a lot of companies now are very interested in people who are looking to volunteer their time in addition. So always putting things like that on there is very helpful. If there's anything in particular that you want employers to know that you have background or interest in anything in particular, if you have student organizations or anything like that that you might have had while you were in school, as long as you're not too far out of graduation, anything like that, and also how would be best to contact you. There's always a fine line of how much contact information you want to put out on the internet, but you don't want to close your profile off too much from potential employers, because if it's too difficult to get in touch with you, they're not going to get in touch with you. But always putting a good professional email address on there. If there's a phone number that you would like for them to contact, always make sure that that is on there and that you are okay with them contacting you there, so that if somebody did call you from LinkedIn, that you're not going to answer while you're half asleep and not sound like someone who is professional. And do you have anything more to add to that before we move on to networking?
So just for that last part where the skills and expertise, like when you put down and you list skills, you want to list skills that are applicable for the civilian career that you're transitioning into, or you're hoping to transition into. You know, what I see all the time with veterans is that, you know, they put stuff like M14 or M4, you know, land navigation, you know, things like that, and they're trying to get into a human resources career. So what will end up happening is you'll have all your buddies in the military go and endorse you for those skills, but a recruiter that's visiting your you know, profile is looking to see skills in human resources, you know, record keeping, office administration, things like that. So make sure that you're putting applicable skills on your profile and getting those endorsed. And they're going to help you a lot better in your transition than having military skills that may not even apply to what you want to do in the civilian world.
And going along with that, make sure that people are also endorsing you for skills that you do have. People can go through and put up other skills. You don't want to have people saying that you have skills that you don't have, in case employers come looking for that skill that you don't have.
Right.
So just also be aware of what other people can put onto your page as well. But moving into networking, once you have your LinkedIn profile set up, the biggest use is for your virtual network. Going out and connecting with other professionals, companies, organizations, you know, growing just the people that you are in contact with. You can follow groups on LinkedIn, which is a great way of sharing information about the industry, current events, trends, relevant information that would affect people in the industry. Just kind of making sure that you are up to date on all the current events for whatever job or company that you are looking at applying to. Do you have anything more?
Yeah. So remember in the beginning I said that, you know, LinkedIn is the next best thing to a handshake. So say you're a veteran, you're in the military right now, you got a year before you're going to get out, and you've already decided that, you know what, Amazon is where I want to work. I want to work at Amazon. But you don't know anybody that works at Amazon. So if I was you and I was in your shoes, I would use LinkedIn to kind of develop a professional network of people that work at Amazon. So if you want to, you know, you find the position that you want to do, say it's a project manager, you're going to search for the Amazon, you know, the website. You're going to look at some of the employees that work there. You're going to search for project managers, and then you're going to reach out to them. You know, so you get a certain amount of in-mails that you're allotted. And if you don't have in-mails, you can connect with people if they're in the same group. So it's important to follow the same groups that people at Amazon would follow, or in that kind of career field. And then if you're connected with them into that group, you can send them free messages. But ultimately, you want to try to find a way to connect with that person. And when you do so, you don't want to use the generic, you know what I'm talking about, Kristen, where you just kind of click please add, and it has like a generic response on the bottom. People know that that's a generic response. So you need to find a way to connect with them, and the best way to do that is through InMail. So if you have an InMail, send a nice introduction telling them who you are. You know, be very polite, be very respectful of their time, and just introduce yourself and ask for an opportunity to gain some advice or some input. You may send 20 emails out or 20 requests out, and maybe only 1 or 2 people will respond. But from that 1 or 2 people, a lot of doors can open up. So it's important to stay positive and to build your network. It may take some time, but it can definitely open doors for you. So say now that you've made a couple connections at Amazon, you're having opportunities to maybe meet with them for lunch somewhere, and you're having opportunity to learn the language that they use at their company, so that when you go back and tailor your resume and tailor your LinkedIn profile to apply to Amazon, once you're a little closer to transitioning out, you're in a shoe-in. Plus, hopefully you've built that relationship where you can reach out to that individual that you met and say, hey, I just wanted to let you know I applied for this job, and I was wondering if you'd be willing to put in an employee referral for me. So that's kind of how virtual networking kind of can start from the very beginning and go through the end. So I know it was very helpful for me in my transition. That's how I got a lot of my opportunities presented. So yeah, just remember that you may send a bunch of emails out, requests out, and you may not get any response. Don't be discouraged by that. Just continue to push forward and stay polite and respectful, and ask for opportunities to meet with that person, because ultimately you want to learn from them. So people like talking about themselves. So give them an opportunity to share their wisdom and share their experiences, and be respectful of that, and you can go a long way.
Yeah, that was a very good point about the messages. When you go to connect with people, there's always that standard message that pops up. Always try to personalize it, try to customize it, anything to make the person feel like you're reaching out specifically to them, because that always goes a very long way towards just a standard message.
Yeah, tell them why you want to connect with them. I want to connect with you because you work at Amazon, and it's been my goal, my dream to work at Amazon after I transition out of the military. There you go. And more often than not, people will actually can at least connect with you. That way you can view their profile, look at some of the positions that they've had in the past that got them set up to be where they are now, what type of education they have. Those are all kind of that's recon that you can do to kind of get an idea of what it takes to be where you want to be.
Yep. So let's see. Looking at the slides now, I guess we've moved into the LinkedIn groups, and really groups are a great way of connecting with people with similar backgrounds. I know we've touched on this a little bit already, but it's a great way for people who have similar interests to come together, share information, kind of connect with each other. People who are interested in companies or certain industries can come and exchange information. There's a lot of groups with people who used to be former Marines, like to stay up with Marines, stay relevant with what's going on with the Marine Corps. There's also groups if you're interested in, some of my background is in journalism and graphic design. There are a lot of groups out there that are trying to stay current with industry standards, what is trending, what is popular when it comes to how you're phrasing things or the style of which you're putting together images now. It's constantly changing, constantly evolving, and that's a great way to stay on top of people who are kind of making that headway in the industry. So groups are a great way to connect with people to stay relevant, and then network with the people who are in the groups, put your face out there as well.
Exactly. Yeah, and then like I mentioned before, if you're not already connected with someone and you don't have the ability to send someone an in-mail because either you don't have premium or you haven't paid for the in-mails, then you can send them. If you're connected to the same group, you can send that person a free message. So it's a benefit. And there's all kinds of different groups, like Kristen said. There's military groups, military recruiting groups, military, and there's also niche kind of project management groups. So if that's something that you'd want to do, find the area that you want to focus on and find the right groups to join so that you can learn the language, you can you can reach out for advice, and you can ultimately connect with people.
Yeah, and through kind of some of those other groups and connections, you can get more people to come and endorse you and recommend you based on your contributions to those groups as well.
Yeah.
Because we talked earlier about how you can get your connections to endorse you, but this is a great way to get people into your network and verifying that you do have the knowledge and skills that you say you do. And sometimes even other ones, because like I said, other people can put other skills up there that you might not have even thought of that you have, as long as you kind of go through and verify that, yes, I do have that skill, so you're not misrepresenting yourself and your brand. And they can also post recommendations. Everyone knows when they go into a job interview, references and recommendations are always something that comes up. And so here you already have a pool of recommendations that you can already pull from.
Yep.
Do you have anything else to add to that, or?
No, that was good.
So then the next important part of LinkedIn is the job board. And using the job board, really what you get out of it is what you put into it. The time that you put into your profile, making sure that your information is accurate, detailed while not being overly detailed. The search engine really does pull from that and try to find you positions that are aligned with what you were looking for. And that also goes with the people that you have connected with and the groups that you have followed. It tracks that so that it's giving you the most relevant information for what it thinks you're looking for. Matt, do you have more to add with that, or?
Yeah, some of the cooler things that if you have the LinkedIn Premium and you're a job seeker, when you see positions posted on LinkedIn, there's a couple benefits to reviewing it on LinkedIn, right? You can see oftentimes who posted the job, so that can help you with your cover letter. So when you're writing a cover letter, you can address it to someone directly rather than just saying, dear hiring team or dear hiring manager. It's always nice to have that special touch. Another thing is that they provide some pretty awesome data analytics. So they can tell you what, based on your resume and based on your profile, you would rank in the top 20% of people that are applying for this job. And you can pull down and see more details about, other candidates that, how many people have of the candidates, how many people have bachelor's degrees, how many have master's degrees. So you can kind of get an idea of, okay, this is how I, this is how I look compared to the other candidates, and you can get that information. What are the skills that they have on their profile that I maybe don't have, and maybe going back into your profile to make sure that it's tailored for that specific job, and then you can maybe move up higher in the percentage of where you would rank in for that specific position. So very helpful tool. A lot of companies are only hiring off of LinkedIn. So for example, Hire Heroes USA, we don't have on our website, we don't have a career site where you can apply via our Hire Heroes website. We only hire from LinkedIn. So a lot of companies are kind of going that way. So it's important that you kind of know how to do it, how to search for positions on LinkedIn.
Yep. And kind of the way let's see, they're using that is with all of your inbox and company selections. You follow these companies. You can search for them through the company themselves. If you really wanted to work at Amazon, you can search for Amazon and what jobs that they have. You can also search by job and what job you are looking for, and just be able to reach out. Other ways, you address your cover letter to the hiring manager that's posted the job posting. You can also connect with them, try to reach out with them other ways. So it just provides you more information about the company or the job as it's been posted on LinkedIn than you might traditionally be able to find out through other forms of job postings. So.
Yep.
And as Matt mentioned, LinkedIn Premium is very useful. It is a paid subscription that LinkedIn provides. You get more in-mail messages. You receive those data analytics for when you're searching for a job that kind of helps you see how you compare. All of these things that help you be a smarter and more informed job seeker. As a veteran, you do receive a year free subscription. If you go to veterans.linkedin.com or just Google veterans and LinkedIn, it will take you to the page, and you can get a year subscription so that you can have all of those tools for free to transition out more easily. Matt, do you have more with that, or?
Just make sure that when you do sign up for that 1-year subscription that you're timing it right. So if you're a year out, you maybe that's too early to utilize that free subscription. Maybe at your 6-month point, that gives you some leeway after you already made that transition out to continue to have this really great benefit. Because like Kristen said, LinkedIn, to get that premium service, it does cost a little bit of money. It's worth it in my eyes. But if you want to utilize your free 1-year subscription, I recommend that you time it appropriately. So it's all based on how you want to handle things. But I recommend right about that 6-month point. That way you have 6 months while you're still in to start building your network, and then 6 months just afterwards. So it can go flex a little bit, but that's the biggest thing is take that in consideration.
Yeah, and let's see. LinkedIn also offers webinars as well, so that you can kind of learn more tools about how to use LinkedIn itself. So just as a little note to be aware of, LinkedIn does offer those tools within themselves. I'm not entirely sure if that's available outside of the premium account. Matt, do you know? Or is that...
I'm not sure.
But I do know that there are tools within LinkedIn as well, and
yeah, and LinkedIn has a YouTube page that has a bunch of pre-recorded webinars and things like that, and they're free. So definitely take some time and go check it out on YouTube.
Yeah. Do you have more to add, or?
No, I don't. Does anyone have any questions? We were that good, Kristen.
Awesome. I like that. Well, I guess if there are no questions, that is the end of our presentation class tutorial.
Great. Hey, definitely, guys, gals that are out there, if you're watching this live or you're watching this later on, LinkedIn is a powerful tool. Definitely take advantage of it, and really take some time to customize and make your profile stand out. You're building your personal brand, and you have the power to kind of sway people's belief about how you are as a professional. Your LinkedIn profile can say so much more than your resume ever will, and it will behoove you. That's the word of the day, behoove, for you to take that time to do some of your own research. Google top 5 LinkedIn requirement, things to have on your LinkedIn profile. Do the research, and you're gonna take that time. I'm getting lost in my thought here, but take the time. Do some research on LinkedIn. Look at other people's profiles. Take some of the great things that you see on their profile, and if you like it, use it on yours. And if you don't like it, you don't have to do it. So it's ultimately your page, and it's how you present yourself professionally. So utilize it in your job search. Build that professional network. Reach out to people, and really take advantage of all the great things you can do with LinkedIn.
Yeah, don't feel awkward about trying to connect with people that you don't know. That's what
Yeah.
LinkedIn's for, and that's why they're on there. So don't think that you're being intrusive or, just walking up to somebody and tapping them on the shoulder and say hi. That's what LinkedIn's for. Make sure you use
Yep.
it to your full advantage.
Right. And I get a lot of vets that feel that way. Like, I don't know that person. It's weird. Well, you know what? That's what LinkedIn is for. That it's about networking, and as long as you're professional, as long as you're polite and sincere in your approach, you'll be okay. So that's all I have. I know VetNet is done every week. So if you like this class, feel free to join us next week. And I'm not sure what we're talking about then. Maybe interviewing. What do you think, Jason?
We're actually talking about, we talked about networking last week. We talked about LinkedIn this week. Next week we're talking about interviewing. So it kind of follows the whole process. If you use LinkedIn successfully enough to get a job interview, then how do you prepare for that job interview? So that's kind of the flow. Before we turn off completely, Kurt, I know you didn't have any questions, but SSU just joined us. Do you have any questions for us? I know you probably don't know where to even begin, but we just had a whole class on LinkedIn and how to utilize that for your job search. Any general questions about LinkedIn that you might have or that you had before you decided to do the presentation that want to get answered now?
No, actually, I'm good. I think I have a good understanding of this, so thank you guys for doing this.
No problem. Thank you for joining us. And if you want to watch the entirety of the video, like Matt and Kristen said, you can join us or you can watch it on YouTube. And in fact, as soon as I hit stop broadcast, the video will be online so you can watch it at home and share it with your friends and family. So, once again, everybody, thank you for the presentation. And Kurt, as we mentioned before, Kristen will reach out to you. Thank you for your contact information. And that's all we have. See you next week.